Hi, this is Siofra's Magic Alcove, and I am Siofra Bradigan. So I got an email from someone asking me about similarities or differences between what she calls the shamanic journeying and what we call the Astral Temple, and whether they are compatible or similar or the same. And so I gave it a little bit of thought, and I don't know if any of you guys have heard that shaman is a word that is become a trigger word for some people. Apparently, only the tribe in the Russian steppes, that's the word that they use for what they do, but it's been used for so long to describe this process of journeying to the other side and encountering spirits and talking to spirit guides and so forth, that it's difficult to talk about the subject without saying the word. So I know about that. I apologize to any groups I may accidentally offend. I'm trying to think of a better word, maybe medicine journey. We could use that word instead. So, in any way, as a universalist, when I'm looking at other traditions and practices and so forth, I generally see the similarities more than the differences, like the specifics of what they're doing in their cultural environment are not what I'm looking at, like any secret or sacred words they might use or anything like that, because I think that would be inappropriate unless it came to me, and I suddenly went, aha, I know how to do this because I remember it from past life or something like that. But basically, the idea of the astral temple, we call it that even though it's on the mental plane, but the word temple, I think, is probably a in, com, incomplete word to use to describe the process of what I'm talking about. Because it doesn't have to be a temple like, you know, our ritual space and temple in here. And when you are going there and creating your space, it doesn't have to have any buildings. It can be completely open, grassland and mountains and trees and whatever imagery works to make you feel comfortable and safe where you're going. And the idea of it is that it's a kind of like a way station in a sense. It's a place you're creating in one of the other planes, astral or mental planes, that is like composed of your thoughts and your dreams and your desires and your needs and your particular practice. And it's a place for you to go to start doing the journeying into other realms from there. So it's kind of like a safe haven that no one else can get into because no one knows what it looks like except for you. And when you're building it, that's definitely one of the things to build into it. That this is your space. This belongs just to you. And so what you do in it is specific to you. Like she talked about having a spirit animal and some ancestors come to teach her, which is not uncommon. I certainly have my spirit animals that I work with, and when I was describing, my initial exploration of my astral temple, I talked about how my black panther sort of stopped me from going down into the roots of the tree that I had to enter into that underworld kind of place. And I took that as a sign that it was not time for me to do that. And so, the things that you see in that environment will reflect your progress, what you're studying, things that you have realized but maybe not known that you realized will show up in your space. Each time you go to that space, you can make new discoveries new things may appear. Like I hadn't been in mine for a number of years, and I had just been busy doing other things. And one of the first things that I noticed that had changed was that sand from my childhood that was now in a circle in the center of the temple. And previously I'd had very elaborate entrances. I'm really good for imagining that kind of stuff. I think I had Greek columns and all kinds of things. And, so whatever it is that you're into, if you're studying ceremonial stuff and Hermeticism and so forth, you might go with some of the imagery for that, like the black and white floors or the columns that are black and white, whatever it is that speaks to your subconscious. And I don't see any differences personally between that kind of journey in witchcraft or as a witch and the kind of journey the woman was talking about. I consider them pretty much identical. To me, the medicine journey is, the medicine person is someone who straddles the worlds and who can travel into the spirit realm on behalf of their tribe of people, whoever they might be, or themselves, in order to get medicine or information, dangers that are coming that the people need to prepare for, certain plants that want to communicate and it's time to pick them. All of these things are the same in both ideas, because I don't think that this is an actual tradition that she's following. It's just the words that the person who wrote the book about it is using. And we had a member of our group that, at one point she was saying that she was more interested in that style of stuff than in the witchcraft. And I'm like, what? Just because I cast a circle and call in the directions. Circles are very important to the Native Americans, for sure. And calling in the directions and the elements is also very important to them. In the rituals I've participated in, at some of the events I've gone to, that was all there. The sweat lodge, very much so, with the womb of the earth and the entering as a child and, coming out as a newborn, cleansing yourself and so forth of all the things that you need to let go of in between. I mean, really, all of these rituals have common threads. They're all about integration and connection to the power, the universe, and even though all of us are on a unique journey, I mean, every single one of us, the universe will communicate to us in whatever method we choose and study. It's still the same basic notion. It's that idea of evolving a language of interaction and communication with the universe and yourself. So it gives you an opportunity to navigate your life in a more conscious manner. So, it's like we've talked about scrying and divination, and I've said I really don't do much of that anymore. And I was thinking about why. And I think it has to do with the fact that I'm always communicating back and forth between me and the universe. If I need to be warned about something, it will come to me in a dream, or it will just sort of pop up in front of me one way or another. So I don't have to create a separate environment and a time and a place to put myself into a still point of receptivity and awareness in order to receive the messages at this point. That's what we do that for. The reason why we have the tools or whatever is to teach ourselves how to be good receivers of this information and to connect with the universe. But if you've completely connected with it, then the tools are just that. They're not necessary. They're just the things that you might have used in the past in order to access that place that communicates with the universe. So it's like nothing wrong with them, and I certainly used them for many years, so I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying that it's because I've been at this for so long that I'm not in that specific place anymore. Not that I couldn't do it if I wanted to, but at the moment I haven't wanted to. So anyway, I think it'd be a good discussion to have about some of these different terms, and the more analytical among you, and I can call myself in that category when it comes to language, we can be somewhat annoyed and flummoxed by these different terms, especially when we discover later that they mean the same thing. So why are we using them? But if they're different words, we expect that they mean different things. You know what I mean? It's like, and it gets kind of confusing in the beginning, for sure. So, I consider that as a practice, doing that kind of journeying within yourself is a good idea. There's no reason not to. And whatever you feel you need to have around you to make you feel safe. If you're feeling safe with how you're doing it, then there's nothing wrong with how you're doing it. If you're not, then you want to look at what you're doing and sort of come up with some modifications, adjustments or something like that that'll make things smoother for you, make you confident and comfortable. So that's it. I just thought it'd be a good subject to just sort of briefly touch on, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow, if this gets out before we have our live show, and if not, see you the following week. So this is Siofra Bradigan, and this has been Siofra's Magic Alcove. Blessed be.